So you think you need to be in the all-star team with a stack of green to be able to drive a mid-engine machine? Think again, son. I've always been a fan of mid-engine cars, and especially the way they look. Some people don't like it because of the A-pillar. If you look at a mid-engine car from side view, you have the hood line, and then it goes kind of into the windshield in one single line. It doesn't dip down to create a hood, and that kind of makes it look a little bit weird if you're not used to it, but I think it looks like a spearhead just ready to pounce forward. And if you think of it, having the engine behind you, it's almost like it's pushing you instead of having it in front of you where it feels like it's pulling you. Have you ever thought of it like that? And of course, it's all about that 50-50 weight balance and balance of the car in general on the track. But with this layout comes a few cons, if you want to call them that. First of all, they're not that easy to work on. They're definitely harder to work on than a front engine car. And you have the price. Mid-engine cars are usually a lot more expensive than front engine traditional cars. Or are they? So in this video, we're gonna find 5 top mid-engine cars, sports cars, that you can buy for under $5,000. It's going to be a challenge for some of these models to find them under $5,000, but I have faith. I think we can do it. So we're gonna search live. I haven't done these searches before. I'm gonna do it live here and find these specific models that I've listed that I would personally love to own under $5,000. And then I'm also going to redesign them just a little bit, put some cool wheels on them and see how it's going to turn out. If they were mine, that's what they would look like. Alright, so first of all, I do have some criteria for these cars, obviously. First of all, they need to be under $5,000, and if I can, I want to find them locally because I want to make this as real as possible, as if I were to buy these cars. Of course, I want to pick them up locally if I can, but I'm also going to search nationwide if I can't find them locally. Another thing is I want them to be running and with no major mechanical issues. I want to pick it up and then go for a drive to the beach. So the first car that I have on the list is the Porsche Boxster, and that would be the first generation. So let's check Craigslist locally first and see if we can't find any Porsche Boxsters for under $5,000. So I'm gonna include nearby areas as well. I can drive a couple of 100 miles if I need to. So let's see here what we get. 8,599 is too much. 10,000, this is right around the corner. And then we have a bunch of quite expensive ones. This start is not starting out very well, but I'm sure we're gonna find one for under $5,000 because I know they exist. It's just a matter of finding them. So let's check out cars.com instead. And since I couldn't find any local Porsches, 911, no, not 911, I wish. Porsche Boxsters, I'm gonna go nationwide here and see if we can't find anything for under $5,000 that is running, obviously. What do I put in the price right there? Maximum 6,000 on there. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Henry private seller. It's an automatic. $49.99. That's perfect. 87,500 miles. It's not too bad, actually. It looks pretty decent. Let's see what this is all about here. Beautiful Porsche Boxster 2000. Lowest price you'll find in the area. Navy blue exterior with black leather interior. It's just 138 miles from here, so it has to be in South Florida probably, or Central Florida or something like that. So look at that. We found our first Porsche Boxster, and now we're just gonna modify it and maybe change the wheels and polish it up just a tiny bit in Photoshop to make it look like I want it to look if I bought this Porsche. Here comes the fun part, which is redesigning these cars and make them mine. So I'm not gonna make any changes to the body, of course. I'm not gonna redesign the model itself, just change the wheels and maybe some indicators and stuff like that. For this Porsche, I obviously need to have some Fuchs wheels on here. So I've picked these silver one right here. I think they look great. If you have a Porsche in general, as long as it's not a I guess as long as it's not a Cayenne, it would probably work on the Macan. But if Cayenne and Fuchs wheels might not work well together, but every other Porsche out there, literally, if you have Fuchs wheels on them, it's going to look very good. So let's duplicate it and put it in the back as well, obviously. And then there is one more change I want to do to this to make it mine, and that is to turn the that looks weird. Something off with this wheel here. I think it's the perspective of it, maybe something like that. That looks better. So I want to have white indicators, so I'm gonna change that real quick as well. And then I think I'm done with this, the changes for this car. And this would probably be another, I have no idea how much Fuchs wheels are for a Porsche. Let's just say $1,000. So I could probably get these new indicators and these wheels for an additional $1,000. So in total, I would be all in on this car for $6,000, which is not a bad deal, honestly. It's really not a bad deal. Let's add some blue tone to them. There we go. Nice. So this would be my Porsche Boxster if I had to choose this car for $5,000. Change the wheels, switch up some of the indicators, make it look 5, 6, 7 years more modern with white and clear indicators, and that's it. Done. By the way, I forgot to see if that's the only under $5,000 Porsche Boxster you can get here. This seems to be like a fantastic deal. It's $59.95, but it's a 2005 with 18,000 miles on it. Has to be something off with this one. This is a repairable vehicle. Okay, so yeah, not touching that. But I guess, I mean, if you really needed a Porsche Boxster under $5,000, you can probably negotiate these that are around 6 with 117,000 miles. You can probably negotiate those down to 5,000 if you really wanted it. Other than that, I think that's the only one that, well, this one right here, 4,500, 203,000 miles though. Glenn has been driving the crap out of this Boxster, but it looks good. I mean, the mileage doesn't really matter as long as it's well maintained, but I would probably go for the first option that we redesigned. All right, so next up on the list is the classic Toyota MR2. I love this car. It looks like a go-kart, and the wheels are so tiny and cute. So we're gonna see if we can find this Toyota MR2 for under $5,000. Let's see. Let's do nationwide for all of these. I think that's the easiest. I would fly somewhere if I found a really good deal. I would definitely fly out and then enjoy the drive back to Florida if I had to. You can see here, these are like $4,000, but 190,000 miles, but still, it's a Toyota, so this will go on forever as long as it's well maintained. Here's one with $93,000 for 93,000 miles for $4,000 is not bad at all. And it looks like it's pretty clean. It doesn't have any oh yeah, about that. All right, so let's check this one instead then. This looks like to be in the same spot with some damage on it. What about this one right here? $49.95, 143,000 miles, but it looks clean. It doesn't say anything about any damages or anything like that, so I would maybe fly up to Iowa and drive it back if I wanted an MR2 for under $5,000. So we found that one too. Great. Let's see if this one at the top here with the red with the ugly chrome wheels, if there was any issues with this one, because this one is in Orlando, Florida, which is a lot closer than Iowa for sure. And it looks like this doesn't have any issues either. The interior on this one has seen better days, that's for sure. So it would stand between this red one and the gray one up in Iowa, or this one, the white one up in Iowa. And honestly, I think I would probably take this, as long as it's a manual. Yes, it is. I would probably take this one because it looks a lot cleaner, and I think the white looks better on this MR2, if I'm honest with you. But I would probably change the wheels, maybe lower it a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do now in Photoshop. Have some fun with this MR2 and see what it would look like if I owned this car. All right, so for the Toyota MR2 here, what would we change on it? First of all, let's make this little orange splash of color on it right here. Let's make that, let's turn that into a clear indicator. So let's just copy this. Still want to have it be almost white. So there we go, something like that. And then for the wheels, I think for a Toyota MR2, it has to be something, I would probably lower it quite a bit, because you see this distance here, and there's a lot of gap here, so this gap needs to be filled somehow. For the wheels, I think I would just put some cool BBS wheels on here, wire wheels, something like this. Let's see how this is going to turn out here if we put these wheels on here. These wheels, also like the Fuchs wheels, you have to have a specific car for them to suit the car. But I think, honestly, the Toyota MR2 is one of these cars that the BBS wheels, they just look good on it. And they suit the overall style of the car, if that makes sense. Can't really put my finger on what kind of style that is. Japanese small car style in general. I mean, the BBS wire wheels works with those cars and also work good with Golf, the older generation Golf cars. Look at that, it looks fantastic. They look almost white as well. It looks so good. That's the power of what wheels can do for your car. If you have some really cool wheels on there, it just changes the whole personality of the car if you have some nice wheels on it. Even though this rear kind of looks flat, but I'm not gonna put a ton of time into each of these redesigns. I just want to show you kind of what I would do with them if I bought these cars myself. Number 3 on the list is the redesign that I just did, which is the Pontiac Fiero. So this should be pretty easy to find under $5,000 because they made a lot of them, but it's too old for cars, so I think I have to go local to Craigslist and see if I can find them here. So let's see, I'm gonna include the Florida here, Pontiac Fiero, and here we go. We got 2. One in Naples and one in Sarasota, and I really like the looks of this one here. It's an automatic, which is a shame. You can't have a Fiero in automatic. It's a typical manual car. It's tiny, it's go-kart feely. I don't understand why they made it in why they offered it in automatic. I mean, I do. We're in the US and people hate manuals here, but still, shame on you. You should get the Fiero in manual if you can. But this looks pretty decent here. It doesn't say that it has any big issues. It's a daily driver. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Brand new AC, which we need AC down here for sure. Selling because I'm moving. 5,000 or best offer. That's perfect. So I don't like the steering wheel. It's a typical ugly aftermarket steering wheel, but the rest of it looks clean. It doesn't look too bad at all. Not for this mileage and for this price. Now they did have the other one down in Naples, and this is a 1985 with a different rear end, and I don't know if I like this or the other one better. This has a very low miles and it's actually a manual, so yeah, I would definitely buy this one instead for sure. I kind of like these wheels, to be honest with you. They look cool. They look like they suit this time, but I just wish that they were a little bit bigger so that they fill out the wheelhouses more. So I think this is actually the one I would get. It has 4 tires and mechanically solid as a rock. That's perfect. 51k miles, title in hand, and sweet. Getting new seats as well. So this is the one I would pick. I would just maybe just keep it as it is, but at the same time maybe switch out those wheels and make them a little bit bigger. Anyway, let's just see how that would look like in Photoshop. For the Pontiac Fiero here, I don't think I really want to change anything about this car because it looks so cool. It's just a cool looking old Pontiac Fiero. Wheel gap here is just massive though, so maybe I would make these bigger, but I don't think so. I would not go through the hassle of trying to make the standard stock wheels bigger than what they are, because I'm probably not gonna find them, first of all, because they don't make these wheels anymore, and they probably haven't made them in any bigger sizes than this with this original design. So what I would do is I would probably just keep this as it is because I'm happy with the way it looks, and everything seems to suit, everything seems to work together in this car. The wheels suit this type of design and this type of era of car, and it's just nothing I want to change on it. So if there's one car on this list that I'm kind of worried about finding for under $5,000 because they're so rare, is the Porsche 914. It's a really weird looking Porsche, but I kind of like it just because it's so weird. So let's see if we can find someone here on Craigslist first. I doubt they will have any here. So as you can see, it doesn't seem like they have any Porsche 914s on Craigslist. So let's check Google and see if we can find anything there. Classics on Auto Trader. If there's any place that has good classic cars, it's Auto Trader for sure. Let's see what we got here. 59,000. That's not what I'm looking for at all. That's a bit steep. It needs to be running, so this might not work here because these prices are ridiculous. I don't need it in mint condition. I just want it to be drivable so I can drive down to the beach with it. And these prices seems to be ridiculous, but we have one more page, so let's hope we can find something on this page right here. No, we can't. Crap. Let's check this site instead then and see if we can find a 914 for under $5,000 on this site. Oh, Look at this, 4450, but it doesn't really look that healthy. Okay, so I found a few, but they don't look good at all. They look like they might not even be running here. All right, so what about this one right here? Looks pretty bad shape, so I don't think I don't think this one is running. Seller's note: selling a 1970 Porsche 914 is complete and starts up. Holy crap, not roadworthy. What does that mean though? Still needs to be restored, but it runs and it starts, so that's all that matters. Hellhole. It's not too bad. I mean, it can be fixed, I guess. Yeah, about that. It doesn't look too great here. All right, so we might not be able to find a Porsche 914 for under $5,000, but let's have a look at this beauty right here in Zambezi green and see if this is actually running here. The Porsche has a lot of potential and is mechanically sound. Here we go. So, okay, I'm gonna change the rules on the Porsche 914 here. $89.50 for this beauty, I think, is still a really good deal. It looks fantastic and it's drivable, so it doesn't need that much work to get and have some fun in. So let's take this and let's modify it just a little bit and see if we can switch out these wheels into some modern looking retro Porsche wheels. Porsche 914, what do we want to change here? I kind of like this weird looking green color. It's very like solid green. There's not a lot of effects going on in this color. It's just a plain green car, and I like that. I wouldn't change the color of it, but I do kind of want to work a little bit on the wheels here. So I chose these Fuchs wheels, these deep dish Fuchs wheels, and we got to change this blue hue that it has. The problem is, if we put it on a 914, is it going to be able to rotate the tires or the wheels themselves, because it's not a very powerful car. So we obviously going to need to add some width to this rear tire here, or this rear wheel, because this is just going to look ridiculous. But who cares, because style always comes before function. But let's add some width to it. There we go, look at that. So that's what I would do with my 914 if I bought this for $5,000. Spend another grand or so on wheels and tires and make it look planted in the back with these deep dish Fuchs wheels. Alright, so the last one on the list is probably my favorite because of the weirdness of it, and that is the Honda Beat. Maybe you haven't heard of it before, but you have to have a look at this thing here. And I'm sure we can find this for under $5,000 because it's not a beauty, that's for sure. 10,000, 10,000, 13. I'm just looking at the prices right now. Now we're getting closer. We can probably get this one for $5,000 if we really wanted to. And I think this is actually this. No, it's not the same car. It look identical, but this has 100,000 miles. This has 73,000 miles and is $1,000 cheaper. So here we go. Let's see what's up with this beauty right here. So it's in Virginia, so it's quite a drive, and hopefully if I flew up there and would buy this car, hypothetically, that it would actually make the journey back home to Florida from Virginia. But the thing is, if I were to buy a car like this, I think that's part of the whole adventure thing. I would definitely just do it and fly up to Virginia and buy a car like this and really basically hope for the best and see what happens on the way. So let's see here if there's anything wrong with this. The Honda Beat is simply one of the most fun cars on the planet. It looks like one of the most fun cars on the planet, that's for sure. Look at this thing. Look at the rear and the 90s styling of this beauty, and it's a JDM too, so you have steering on the right side. That's cool. 9,000 RPM redline, and it delivers more miles per gallon than basically anything else on the road. So yeah, it doesn't say that it's not running, and it looks pretty clean to me, and it's a manual too. These looks like fun cars, and it's such a rare car. Just look at how the headlights, it goes into the front fender, and the hood itself is this whole piece here. It's a crazy looking car, which is what I love. I love cars like this that you rarely see and that nobody really knows what it is when they see it. So this is probably the one I would buy if I had $5,000 to buy a mid-engine sports car. But these steel wheels, I think these are steel wheels or something, they need to go. Obviously, I need to have some cooler wheels than that. The problem is, one part of this challenge that I can't use any stock photos of the car. I need to use the actual car that I was hypothetically buying to modify in Photoshop. So I have to find a pretty decent picture here and then just pump it into Photoshop and change these wheels. So for the Honda Beat, this is my favorite of these these mid-engine cars, I would definitely remove this little thing at the rear here, which is the package holder or whatever you call that thing in the rear. There we go, great. Now for the wheels, I want to have some NK wheels on here to spice this up, and red usually works with gold. I remember this, I think I mentioned this before, but there was a Lamborghini Huracan at one of the Supercar Saturdays in Broward, and it was red, and it's probably still around in South Florida down there, but it was red and it had these gold wheels and it looked so good. So I want to have some red and then have some gold wheels onto my Honda Beat here to make it look cool. So gold and then typical Japanese race wheels here, and kind of JDM style overall, but the color is what makes a difference here. And the proportions, now when I look at this car, the proportions are kind of weird on this car. Everything is weird on this Honda Beat. The wheels sit very, very far out in each end of the car. These the fenders themselves are just weird looking because they go like this, and this is one piece. I mean, this is one piece right here, and then they have a second piece down here. So this is not a single smooth curve, it just has this weird corner up there. I love cars like this because they're so strange and unusual, and there's always a lot to look at and kind of wonder how that came to be, basically. And there's a lot of that going on here in this Honda Beat, and it's definitely something I would roll around in down here, just cruise to the beach and just have some fun with. So now it's all about trying to get this right in perspective. Look at that, look at my Honda Beat looking all badass. I like these wheels, I think they suit the car, and red always works with gold for some reason. It's weird. It feels like it shouldn't work with red, but it really does. A good color scheme for a car would be red body and then gold wheels and then some black accents in the body of the car. Maybe some black carbon fiber pieces. That would be a beautiful looking spec of any car. So, wouldn't you know, you can buy a pretty fun and exciting mid-engine sports car for under $5,000 without having to spend a massive amount on mechanical improvements. If it was up to me, between these 5 cars here, I think I would probably choose either a Toyota MR2 or a Honda Beat. And I'm leaning more towards the Honda Beat because it's such a weird looking thing, and nobody would know what the heck it was if I was driving that around down here, because I've never seen one ever in my life. So having a car like that is always fun, a weird looking car that's just different from everything else. Now my question to you is, what car would you pick? And do you have another car that I haven't brought up here that's mid-engine that you can get for under $5,000 that you would choose to buy instead of these 5 examples that I showed you in the video? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoy these kind of videos, hit the like button, it really means a lot to me, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'm TheSketchMonkey. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.